Ciao bellezza! Guess what we're doing today? We're gonna do Bolognese sauce, okay? Now, I want you to understand something. Bolognese, it comes from Bologna, which is in the north of Italy. And so in the north of Italy, there's a lot of influence from other countries up north in their culinary and in their cooking. So there's a lot of milk, there's a lot of butter, there's a lot of cream. So in this Bolognese sauce, we're gonna be using butter, milk, carrots, celery, onions, salt and pepper, bay leaves, tomato paste, obviously some meat, ground beef. Typically people will use ground beef, veal, and pork. I couldn't find veal, and the pork I can't have, as you know. And then I'd use San Marzano whole peeled tomatoes, and I like to squeeze them in my hand to grind them down. Some people like them completely through the sieve, like the passatutto. I personally like the chunks of tomatoes. So it's a personal choice. It's a personal preference. Now, this is how Nonna used to make this. Oh, and by the way, you can't forget the vino. I use white wine Grillo because I like it a little lighter, but please use some reds if you want. You can use a Chianti or whatever you have available. But we're going to be using the white today. Okay, so come on, we're going to start and get this going. It's going to be delicious. Buono. We're going to first start off with 3 tablespoons of butter. Okay, so that we can start sautéing the celery, onions, and carrots. Now you're going to ask, well, how much is in here? So typically, I like to use like 1 large carrot and 1 large stalk of celery and half an onion, like from a very good size onion. And that's what I would do. I have a teaspoon of salt, a teaspoon of freshly ground black pepper, 2 bay leaves. Now I have 3/4 cup of milk. I don't know if I'm going to use all of that. We'll see. And I'm about to use two tablespoons of tomato paste, 1 can of San Marzano, and a pound of meat. And I'm going to put about, I don't know, half, maybe a cup of wine. We'll see how I feel. All right, so the butter is ready. It's sizzling. Let's pour in our ingredients. We'll do the carrots, celery, and onions. And what you want to do is you want to cook this until the onions are translucent, okay? And that's exactly what we're going to do. It smells really nice already. Do not put your spices in yet. Let this just do its thing. I have the heat on medium low. Now you see the onions are starting to get translucent. And this is when we're going to start putting our meat. Personally, I like to break this up with my hands, okay? It makes it easier in the long run. So I'll just break it up. Get your hands dirty, sweetie. Don't worry about it. I know you don't like to, but hey, the best cooks, this is what they do. By the way, I'm going to dedicate this Bolognese sauce to Nonno because he was a pastaro, as they call it in Calabrese. He loved his pasta, mamma mia. And so we're going to cook the meat all the way down. Make sure it gets into little pieces. And we want to do this until the meat is thoroughly cooked through. Do you remember when we went to Bologna and we had that Bolognese pasta waiting for the train to go to Venice? And the meat was so fine, like as if they chopped it up with some sort of blender. I mean, it was super, super fine. I don't know if I can get it to that consistency, but I will try. I'm using a white wine. This is actually a Grillo, okay? It's from Sicilia, and I really like this Grillo. It's super, super delicious. What about half a cup to a cup? Yeah, that's a cup, sure, why not? Let's do that. And then just wait until it completely evaporates. We're going to add the tomato paste, and we want to make a section for it here once this liquid dissipates for the tomato paste, because the tomato paste, you really should let it cook. You know, let it cook a minute inside there before you start adding the tomatoes and all that. It needs to cook a little bit before you put it in the liquid, typically. Now that it's cooked down, the alcohol is cooked out, we're going to put about 2 tablespoons of tomato paste. There we go. Then we're going to put 2 bay leaves. Got to have that flavor. Put some salt and some pepper. And cook the paste down. Let it cook a little ways before you start adding the tomatoes and the other flavors. Let it cook in there. Paste thickens the sauce. Okay, it's going to thicken the sauce a lot. People always ask, why do you put milk in Bolognese? Because what it does is, because there's the paste and the tomatoes inside of the sauce, it gets a little acidic. The milk and the carrots help with the acidity. So when you put the milk at the end, it won't be as an acidic meal. So now we're going to lower it, and we're going to add the tomatoes. Here we go. We're going to let this cook on a simmering low for 3 hours. Yep, you heard me. 3 hours. Put it on a low simmer. Put a lid. Some people use a Dutch oven. I just do it the old school way, like my mom did it. So we will come back in a few hours. Okay, we'll see you then. Okay, it's been a couple hours, so I'm going to remove the bay leaves before putting in the milk. I put 3/4 cup of milk. You can use whole milk, but I use 2%. And while that's doing its thing, simmering down, we're going to start boiling the pasta water. Okay, so the pasta's al dente. I'm just going to put it into the sauce and let the remainder of the cooking happen there. I don't have to drain it completely because I may need some of the pasta water if it's too thick. Normally when you are cooking the Bolognese sauce, typically people use either linguine or fettuccine, but you know, you can put whatever pasta you like. It's really up to you. And so you put this and cook it in like this so the flavors blend in nicely with the pasta. And that's what it should look like. So we're going to get some Parmigiano Reggiano, plate it up, and eat. Don't worry if you don't grab all of the meat right away. It's okay, because you will grab it after. Just twirl the pasta, put in a plate. Then I will grab some of this wonderful Bolognese. We're going to try it now. I dedicate this to Nonno. Hope you enjoy this, and I hope I gave it justice. Let's try some of the Bolognese. Wow. That's all I can say. Wow. Wishing you were here enjoying this. This is our family style Bolognese. If you want to use different pasta, honey, go for it. It's whatever you want it to do. So enjoy, buon appetito e alla prossima. Ciao bellezza!